Okay, perfect. All right. So I'm recording the meeting this morning because we are going to talk about the April Desert Housing Report. And I just this morning printed the March housing report just because I couldn't find my last copy of it, but I wanted us to be able to use it to compare. One of the things I wanted to chat about, there's several things I want to chat about in it today, but one of the things I wanted to chat about was the fact that the inventory is up and there's a significant little pop, like I mentioned in the email for this meeting. So want to chat with you guys about that and what that means and what that could look like. For those of you who attended the List Like a Pro class this week, thank you so much. For those of you who were there, I emailed everybody all of the attachments yesterday and all of the materials from the class. Again, most of those just came from my own personal stock, so feel free to edit them and make any changes to them that you want. One of the documents was in a PDF, but you can still copy and paste that into your own Word document or a doc or whatever you're going to use. All of that works. So wanted to get into this week and also for those of you who attended the watch party on Thursday, thank you for that. Those of you who came, we reviewed the watch party and had some conversation about what all of those changes mean for our business. And even just the fact that sometimes hearing the word recession doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing in every case. It definitely means generally that interest rates will come down. So I think that was a wonderful conversation. I'm glad that we all got to be part of it. For those of you who missed the List Like a Pro class, I do have 3 packets left. And it's not the kind of thing that I want to just hand off to you because, to be candid, without some conversation around some of it, a few things won't make sense. So if you didn't get a packet and you are interested in getting my sample listing package, then please just reach out to me, set an appointment, and I will go over it with you and we'll hand one off to you. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into sort of the meat of what we have today. I'm gonna share my screen. I had this pulled up. Oh, I did, didn't I? And it's not there anymore. Let's see. Nope. All right, let me go find it real quick. Sorry, guys. While I'm doing that, does anybody have any wants or needs or anything they want to share with the group? Any ahas from this week or wins? All right, let's see. Desert. Again, sorry about this. Okay, so Desert Housing Report for April. Perfect. I'm going to open it and then I will share my screen with you guys. Perfect. All right, and let's get back into Zoom, share my screen. And there we go. All right, you guys all see the Desert Housing Report now? Somebody give me a head nod or a thumbs up. Perfect. Okay, great. All right, so we'll go ahead and kind of get into this. And I would love, as we're going through this, feel free unmute yourself. It's a little hard for me to see the chat while I'm going through this on the screen, but feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions as we go through it today. Obviously, we've always got the map of our cities in here. We talked yesterday too when we were all talking about the Market Watch webinar that we watched yesterday about not necessarily leaving these pieces behind with a client because some of them aren't appropriate to leave behind, but taking these in that folder with you, your listing folder that you keep for yourself, having these as resources with you when you go out can be really powerful tools when you're talking to clients. So we'll kind of go through the summary here that the home prices are continuing to go up. All of the trends and everything that we're seeing says that that's going to continue to happen. Even with some of the shakiness that's happening in the market, there's just still so much pent up demand that we will continue to see a shortage in houses, which will continue to cause prices to come up. The median price of a detached home in Coachella Valley was $670,000, which is up 19.8%, almost 20%. Over 2 years, it's up an astonishing 52%. And again, remember, guys, our average appreciation is about 3% a year. In a healthy market, that's what we see. So again, all these indicators that we're looking at not necessarily a healthy market that we're in. Again, it's been lucrative for some, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's a healthy market. The median price for attached homes in April was $479,450, which is up 30% year over year and 60% over 2 years. Again, those numbers are astonishing to me just simply because of the amount of time that we had such a depressed market in attached homes, because you could buy a detached detached home for the cost of an attached home. And so to see those prices rise so much, it really just is indicative of the fact that that we have a shortage and that people are looking to those properties where they probably wouldn't have before. Agents are probably including them in their search just so that they can find a place to land while they're here. It also, we talked yesterday in the Market Watch about the fact that when we see numbers like that, a lot of times that second home market or that attached home market is normally the second home market, where it's a lot more people that aren't necessarily living in it. However, you do also have people like me who live in those kind of properties and are here all of the time, and we're starting to see more of that. We're also overall, whether it's attached or detached, also starting to see, well, we've been seeing, but it's continuing to happen, an increase in people who are living here 12 months out of the year, as opposed to just here seasonally. Three cities have year-over-year gains for their detached homes above 40%: Rancho Mirage, Indian Wells, and Palm Springs. And in the attached market, 7 cities have those same gains, or have the gains over 40%. Total sales in April averaged 981 units, and that number, 980 units a month over the last 3 months.
Was that the whole Coachella Valley?
Yes. It's the 9 cities in the Coachella Valley. They're generally talking about the sales that happened in the areas that are highlighted in this section, unless they break it down. And there are areas, there will be places over here where they will break it down by the cities, but the very beginning of this presentation is generally Coachella Valley overall. And so that total sales average over 9 months, I wanted to look and see, or over 3-month sales in March averaged 910. So the total average in April was 981. That looks like it's up. It says it's flat, it's less than the 1216 units last April. Okay, so 12 months ago. While well below the peak sales for the last levels, while well below peak sales levels of last year, April sales continued to average slightly above pre-pandemic April averages. The 12-month average sales, which takes out all seasonality, shows total sales in April averaged 931 units a month, which is 31 units less than last month and 11% below last year. Again, we're finding that those largest declines in sales to be in the 4 major resort cities: La Quinta, Palm Desert, Palm Springs, and Rancho Mirage, but those have been the cities that were the highest. So when we start to back off, of course, we expect to see those back off a touch in those areas. Sales in La Quinta are off the most at 37%. Lack of supply to demand, to meet demand, continues to be the problem. And that's exactly it. We keep hearing over and over and over again that the problem that we have is the lack of supply, and that we need more listings to supply the buyers that are out there. And the biggest challenge we have is making sure we're educating those sellers as to what's happening in the market right now, so that they understand why it's important to make the move now. We're in the peak. All the indicators are there, and you need to be able to illustrate that and show that to a client so they understand why now is the time to make a move, right? And so what I want to invite you guys to do is, if you are having a challenge with these kind of conversations, I want you to reach out to me, and I want you to set an appointment with me so that we can sit down and work on your scripting and work on the kind of how the conversations that you're having with clients and how you can combat some of those questions and concerns. Do any of you, if any, as we're talking about this, if you think of any concerns or objections that clients have given you that any of this relates to, please unmute yourself and point it out as we're going through some of this stuff. This one is the one that we kind of talked about last week, and that I wanted to really point out that Eric was correct. On May 1st, the Valley inventory was 859 units, which is 149 units, more units than last year. But last month, this is the part that I thought was interesting. It said on April 1st, Valley inventory stood at 678 units. So it's up significantly. And what is that? 181 units up over last month. Well, that is amazing news. That's really great news for us. And that's the other thing that I just want to go back to again, is when we hear some of these words where there's a shifting market or a changing market, none of this stuff is bad. And some of it can be, some of it can create new challenges, But when we are starting to see more inventory coming on the market, that's good news. You guys want to be a part of that. You need to be out there educating your sellers and making sure that they're getting their properties on the market while we're still in that peak. Because again, nobody wants to be the one that looks back and says, man, I really wish that I wish I would have done something 30, 60, 90 days ago, right? That's like a horrible feeling. And it's a horrible feeling when, it's just that we didn't have the information in front of them to be able to convey the urgency that they needed to move within. So what we are somewhat encouraged by the fact that inventory has been rising the last 2 months when historically it has fallen due to seasonal factors. So that's a great point. A long time ago, I would say probably not in the last several years, but over 5 or 6 years ago, we were seeing, I want to say probably closer to 10 years, we really saw seasonality here in the desert, which is, I don't want to say it's all gone away. We really still do see that seasonality in August and September, but June and July have become much more sustainable, and we can continue to get to do business during those times. So on April 1st, the month of sales ratio for the Valley was 0.9 months, up 0.2 months from a year ago. It's a slight increase due to lower sales and higher inventory compared to a year ago levels. And we're still far below the normal ratios of 3 to 4 months of these. And these low ratios continue to cause prices to go up. Our days in market at the end of April, the median number of days in the market throughout the Valley was 21 days, which is 13 days less than last year. With the inventory remaining low, supply and demand forces continue to keep selling times at low levels. The city of Palm Springs has the lowest selling time for a detached home at just 14 days. And I think anybody who's doing business in Palm Springs knows that. Followed by Desert Hot Springs with just 16 days. In the attached market, Palm Springs also has the shortest number of days at 12. Oh my gosh, that number is astonishing. Followed by Cathedral City at 13. That's interesting. Think about those attached properties. Again, most of the attached properties are, not most of them. A lot of them are in those areas, but not most of them. Okay, price discounts. This one's really interesting. At the end of April, 55.5% of homes sold above list price. That also means that that almost half of them sold below list price. This compares to 32.4% a year ago. Their current number is the highest number percent in history. Then in more normal times, the percent is around 10. So normally at around 10% of homes sell for more than what the home is listed for on the multiple listing service. Palm Springs continues to have the highest selling premium for detached homes at 5.2%, followed by the city of Coachella at 4.1%. In the attached market, Palm Springs also has the highest average selling premium at 4.2%. So I would love to ask you guys, because honestly, my mouth's a little dry today. I would love to ask you guys to chime in and just tell me, what are your ahas from this? What does this tell you? What does it make you think? What are your concerns, or what are you excited about when you hear this information? Go ahead and unmute yourself. And if you don't, I'm going to start calling on people because I need some help this morning. Luke, what you got for me? What does this tell you? What does this say to you?
Now is like a good time to sell. The market's hot, like you said, it's peak time. Coachella Valley is like on fire. Palm Springs numbers are crazy. Those closing times, I do see in escrow a lot of 10-day escrows that are going through. It is just because everybody's talking about this recession going. That's really only affecting the buyers that are getting government-backed loans, so your FHA loans, VA loans. Those loans, I'm not seeing a lot of traffic of those anymore, but our investors, all cash buyers, they are still there. They are still out there. I know the Joshua Tree area is on fire. Desert Hot Springs has a lot of new properties going in that are people buying up. There's not too much vacant land out here in Palm Springs, and I know if as soon as it goes on, it is it's gone in a matter of days.
Right.
We are seeing a lot of vacant land that is selling 5-day closings, all cash deals.
Right.
I know it's not homes, but the market's hot. Now's the time to sell.
Right. Absolutely. It is. And again, I think you go into a listing presentation armed with this kind of information. And forget presentation, that you just go into a conversation with a seller about selling their house. I always say, don't do your presentation on someone, right? Like, it's all about just sitting down and asking questions to help guide them through the process. But when you start coming to the table with this kind of information, our job really is to sort of be a local economist. Like, our job is to know what's happening in the financial markets, in the real estate markets, what's happening that's going to affect people's ability to own their own home. And once you start coming with this kind of information, it's a lot less about like, let me just sell your house. And it's a lot more about, this is really the reason that you should consider doing it. And here's all the information you need to make a good choice, right? And it really
Yeah,
helps people to feel more confident when they're moving forward.
absolutely. And confidence is key, especially in yourself when you're delivering that kind of news to people on your presentation.
Right. Absolutely. All right. Does anybody else have anything that they want to talk about before we go to the next slide? All right, we're going to go ahead and move on. If you have anything, feel free to pop up and unmute yourself. The Coachella Valley median detached home price is obviously up. Home prices continue to surge, and at the end of April, the median price of a detached home in the Coachella Valley was 670,000, up 19.8 over a year. Over the last 2 years, it's been astonishing at 52%. So starting in June, the seasonal factors start to see things slow down, but the forces have been driving prices higher, and low inventory and high demand will continue to make that market hot. Desert Housing Report. Let's see. Median attached price. So even that is up, and it's interesting when you start looking at this rise that's here. The attached price homes, they had a little bit of a spike here in the last little bit, and again, I really feel like that has a lot to do with that lack of inventory, and they are continuing to climb. And that's another really good thing to sort of share with those buyers that are interested in potentially buying an investment property. Sometimes these attached homes make really great investment properties because as a landlord, it leaves you with a lot less maintenance, a lot less responsibility. And it can really be like you lock it up and close it when somebody's not there and you really don't have to worry about it. We heard yesterday in Market Watch, as we did the watch party, that it is still a really good time for us to invest in it, for people, anyone to invest in investment properties, because the amount of rents are going up at the same rate that home prices are going up. So once again, it's an amazing hedge for inflation. It historically has been, and of course it's not like real estate advice, but at the same time, historically we have seen real estate go up. And I shared with you guys last week that in my own personal investments, I look at the investments that I've made in real estate since I was 19, and I look at the investments that I've made in my 401k and my IRAs since I was 19, and my real estate investments have significantly outreached and outplayed outperformed my cash investments. And I think that when we start to look at those things, it really makes a difference. And you start to see these prices here with attached homes and the prices of rents going up. And this is really a great way for you to be able to, again, hedge inflation, have that in the investment and that wealth that we're trying to create, that personal wealth that we're trying to create. These attached properties can be a really great way to do that. So one other thing that I think we keep talking about too is, with this potential recession coming that is pretty well impending as far as I'm concerned, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I think we will see interest rates drop during that time. So with those FHA and those buyers that are using those government-backed securities, when we do see interest rates drop, that's going to be their time to strike, because the other markets will be watching the recession happen, and those people that have the ability to get a loan that way might be able to get a little bit more action while everybody else is kind of sitting and waiting on the sidelines. So for those buyers that are really feeling beat up right now might be the time to tell them, like, just hang in there. If we see anything in the next little bit, obviously we're going to put an offer in on it, but as things start to shift a little bit, we really want to watch that, because that might be our time to strike, to really find something for you. And it might help to re-engage those buyers that are feeling a little beat up. They've been in the market for a while and keep getting beat out on offers. Maybe they sit back for just a couple weeks, and then or in a couple months, and we watch the market and see what happens, and there may be an opportunity for them here. The desert housing report, price of the average size detached home in each city. This is another part. We talked about this a couple weeks ago in the last report that we went over. They do the average size of a home in each city. So the average size home in each city is listed here for detached, and attached are down below. Your price per square foot, your average price of the average size home. And if you look in Rancho Mirage, we've got 1.4. In Indian Wells, it's 1.7. Palm Springs is 1.4. Again, that difference in Palm Springs, like to be at the same level as Rancho Mirage a couple years ago, that just absolutely was not the case. And then we look again at Coachella, at Indio, Bermuda Dunes is 835. That's astronomical. Even La Quinta sitting at over $1 million. And then we look at this 12-month change. Look at the 12-month change over the last 12 months, how these cities have all increased. This is great information to take with you on a listing appointment. For somebody that's just not sure, look at how far the increases have come and look at the percentage increase from the low. If you look at this percentage increase over what the low was, and you've got in Palm Springs and in Coachella, you've got a over 300% increase. Desert Hot Springs as well, 357% increase from the overall low that we had. So I'd love to hear from you guys. What does that tell you? What does that say to you when you're going on a listing appointment? What do you guys think? And even when you're talking to a buyer, what does that say to you when you're sitting down and having a buyer consultation or a conversation with a seller? Carl, what do you have for me?
It's pretty simple. Get off the fence, and it's time to do it now because this is not going to last forever.
Right. Absolutely. And we're still seeing prices go up. Like that's again in Market Watch, they talked about the last go around with this, we had a false bottom just simply because of the bad lending practices that were in place, and that's not the case now. So people sitting and waiting for prices to come down, that's very, very unlikely going to happen. None of the indicators are leading towards that being the case. It's more that things are going to continue to get more expensive. And as we watch that, interest rates are going to go up. So now is the time, whether it's that you're wanting to sell or that you're wanting to buy, it really is the time to get off the fence. Let's see, we'll go down to detached total sales. Total sales again. Yeah, this is interesting. Where are our total sales, total attached and single family sales. So this is our total, and you can just see over the last since April of 2017, or I'm sorry, of 2017, the changes and the increases. Of course, we had our peak in April of 2021, and we've kind of been slowly eking along the bottom here, and we're watching more inventory. As we watch more inventory come on, we will see more sales. But if more inventory doesn't come on and we continue at this lower rate, then we will have more challenges throughout the Coachella Valley. Again, everything just leans into you guys need to be going and hitting those listing appointments so hard. You need to hit your farming, hit those phone calls, make those relationships, and get in and show these people this information so that we can really make a difference with them. The 12-month average sales, which takes seasonality, which I'm sorry, takes out all seasonality, shows total sales in April, averaged 931 units a month, which is 31 units less than last month and 11% below last year. So again, sales have continued to decrease as prices go up. Home sales by city. This is the 3-month average. It shows how many transactions are happening in each city. Again, that can be really useful information when you're sitting with a seller, showing how many properties. If somebody's in Bermuda Dunes, you have a way less competition than if you're in Palm Desert. And that can be useful information to use. It says, again, we find that the largest decline in sales to be in the four major cities, La Quinta, Palm Desert, Palm Springs, and Rancho Mirage. Sales in La Quinta are off the largest amount at 37%. The cities that are classified as primarily as workforce cities, Coachella, Cathedral City, Desert Hot Springs, and Indio continue to show comparable sales to the last year. Let's see. I feel like there was something. There's a bunch of slides here, and I'm also going to share this. If you guys don't have it already, we should all have received it from the board. But if you don't, I'm happy to share this with you at the end of class today. I'll go ahead and forward this out to everybody.
Please do.
Yeah, I will, because you guys really should be printing this out and keeping this with you as you're going out and having conversation. And honestly, it's one of those things that you want to keep in your folders so that you can, use these pieces of information as you go throughout your business. This one was, month of sales ratio. Okay, this one is the one you guys know I love to talk about this. On April 1st, the month of sales ratio for the Valley was 0.9 months, up 2% from a year ago. This slight increase is due to lower sales and higher inventory compared to a year ago levels. We are still far below normal ratios of 3 to 4 months, and these low numbers indicate continued upward pressure on home prices. As we've stated before, we need to see more listings. I'm sounding like a broken record. But this, again, this is a really interesting slide. And I know it's kind of what we talked about in the summary, but I feel like the slides are the pieces that when you show them to a client, it really can send this home, that this is the lowest competition you've had in the market in a very, very long time. And this really does illustrate one of the reasons why you should put your home on the market, because you really are one of very few. Look where we were back in May of 2017. Oh, the good old days when there were listings on the market when you needed them, right? And this is where we are now. It is a severe deficit. So you put your home on the market, and again, we know that the days on market are super low right now. Months of sales by price range. Yeah, this shows the months of inventory based on the price range. Obviously, those higher price ranges have a little bit more, but even in those million and up price ranges, we're still under 2 months of inventory. And that's still not necessarily where we need to be. Let's see. I don't think we need to read through this one. We're going to skip to months of sales by city. Again, you've got in those some of those cities that are the higher end cities have a little bit more months of inventory than some of the let's see, wait a minute, that's not true. Let's see, this graph compares current month of sales ratios in each city to last year. We've sorted through the cities left to right by lowest ratio. The cities with ratios under 1 month are Cathedral City, Rancho Mirage, Palm Desert, and Desert Hot Springs. Okay. Yeah, again, all of this leads to, I don't think it really matters to me whether you're at 1.3 or you're 0.7, it's all under what we need. So all of that to me sort of reads the same way. Days in market, this is really important when you're sitting down with a seller and talking about sales strategy, and somebody wants to move their property, they need to get out of here and they need it sold within 21 days, then we need to be in that bottom 10% of pricing. This is how it's working, right? So this is kind of how you can have that conversation with clients about where we need to be. This is what to expect. It's going to probably go pretty quickly. And especially when you're having conversations with clients who need extra time, that this is really important to say, like, how ready are you, and make sure that they're really prepared for that move that's probably going to come pretty quickly for them, right? And that we need to watch, because that may change as inventory increases, if it doesn't continue to increase. Let's see, Desert Housing Report, days on market, detached homes, days on market, attached homes. So yeah, these bar charts rank the cities left to right by the smallest number of days in market for both detached and attached homes. Everybody's days on market are under 30. That again just illustrates this across the board, that all of the properties that are going on the market for the most part are going quickly, and our expired rate is very, very low, as a matter of fact. Percentage of homes selling over list price. We are at a record right now where we have 55.5% of homes selling over list price. I think this is another really powerful slide to put into your listing presentation, or to, again, to just illustrate while you're sitting there talking with clients that they're like, well, we just want to wait and see what happens. Like, what are we waiting for? We are literally at the highest percentage of homes selling over list price that we've ever historically, in like the amount of time we've been keeping records, that we've ever had. And so if you are considering selling, or would consider maybe even selling in the next few years, you might want to consider doing it now as opposed to later, right? Let's see. Price discount. This shows the price discount in all of the cities. They use the average value instead of the median value, and it's a better metric during periods when so many homes are selling at or above list price. And Palm Springs continues to have the highest average selling premium for detached homes by 5.2%, followed by the city of Coachella at 4.1. In the attached market, Palm Springs also has the highest premiums at 4.2. Let's see. This is just your explanation and description of what they use for their graphs and calculations. And so that's kind of it. That's the meat of the presentation. Do you guys have any slides that I kind of blazed through some of these and didn't really go through all of them? Was there anything that I missed that you want me to go back and touch on?
No, I think that was pretty thorough.
All right, perfect. Okay.
Are we allowed to share these like one slide or like some of these slides with clients or anything?
Yeah, so what I normally recommend is that with these slides, they are produced for you to be, and if you, I'm scrolling back up because I wanted you to see, they're produced for Valley agents through the sponsorship and cooperation of Greater Palm Springs Realtors and California Desert Association of Realtors by Market Watch. So the same people that put on this thing also put together this thing. And what I would do if I were you guys, and I'll stop sharing my screen so we can have more of a conversation here. Wait a minute, where did you guys go? What I would do if I were you is I would pull these together. What is going on? I don't know what just happened. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I would put these in a folder and I would have these for yourself, sort of like the manila folder we talked about in the List Like a Pro class. I would have these available for yourself to be able to show clients. If you're talking about wanting to like share a slide in an email with a client, I think like snipping, because sending all of this is any of it, it's all a little too much. Like you don't want to send somebody the whole entire presentation unless you got like a real high C that's super into analyzing the numbers. I mean, I think then somebody might really geek out on this stuff, but for most people, it's a little much. So what I would suggest is maybe doing like a screen snip where you snip what you're looking for and just post, like add it as a picture into the email that you're sending. So you can just illustrate that one slide, or maybe just print the one slide or scan it as a PDF so that you can send it to them and show them the one piece that you're wanting, or one or two pieces that you're wanting to illustrate. Does that make sense?
No, it does, because there's like, I think it's like page 6 or 5, one of those that shows like the overall of what's happened. This one is the one I usually send to clients, but because I know Dawn was like, you should send that, Dre. And then I was like, I feel like I just was told something like we can't share something. And I was like, oh, shoot, let me ask to be sure that we
you
can
see what it
share
says
it.
right at the bottom where I'm highlighting it right now?
Yes.
It says use and distribution by members only. So you can share it. You
Okay.
definitely can. Again, I just would be careful with sharing all of it. I definitely think printing one slide and sending it to a bunch of clients is not a bad idea, especially because that one, like this one slide is really amazing because it shows all of the cities. It shows so much information in one place and really gives a great overall picture. But you're only sending one page, so it's not necessarily going to overwhelm somebody. You can look at this really quickly, and if you're really only concerned with Bermuda Dunes, you can look right to it and you can see through all the rest of it.
Yeah, that's why I like that one, because it's a little easier for everybody.
I think you're right. This is a great slide to send. How does anybody else feel like, are there any other slides that you feel like you would really want to send out or send to your clients, or would want to include in a presentation?
They're good they're good for social media posts too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah.
very good for social
Take a
media.
picture, put it on Facebook, on your Facebook business page, or any of the other pages you have for social media.
Yeah, and when you do that, when you put it on your business page, be sure to share it to your personal page,
Right.
so that when someone clicks on, because all of your traffic's on the personal page, for the most of us, more of our traffic is on the personal page. So when you upload it to the business page and then you share it to the personal, people who click through to it will go back to your business page and will hopefully like it and follow you there. Luke, were you going to say something?
Yes, exactly what he just mentioned. I was going to say, make a Facebook post, share it on your Instagram stories. I'm a millennial, so I'm all about the Snapchat too. We're all, all on that too. So just any social media platform, for sure, I would put it on.
Don't
Right.
forget LinkedIn. A lot of people forget LinkedIn. It's a good
Yeah.
place. And LinkedIn, you get a lot of high-end clients from.
Yeah, that one is interesting. And you know what? I didn't even realize for a while that LinkedIn had really kind of changed its platform so much. And it really is more of like a social media feel now than it used to have. And I have successfully set some appointments through that. So I think you're absolutely right. Don't forget about LinkedIn, but also don't forget about Snapchat and TikTok. I mean, some of us maybe shouldn't be on it. But some of us still scroll through at night.
No TikTok.
No, I found some interesting stuff on TikTok, some really cool ideas. Actually, we found a solution for how to fix the floor in the office on TikTok. So we're in the process of working that right now. If it works, I'll let you guys all know. It involved a syringe and Gorilla Glue. So I'll let you know if it was successful. All right. Anything else? Are there any other slides here that you feel like you would want to share with somebody, or you think would be important for you, or if you want to chat about? If not, we can go ahead and wrap up for the day. But I always feel like this information, knowledge is power, and having this information, being armed with it. I just had an agent the other day that kind of listened to all of this and then had a conversation with someone that sort of made her like question everything. She's like, oh my gosh, this person just told me that the sky is falling and everything's going to heck and it's not going to be great. And I don't know, what am I going to do? And I was like, wait a minute, nothing's different. Nothing has changed. The same thing will always remain true. You will always have to refocus and put your head back down and go to work. And so what my suggestion is to all of you is that you continue doing those activities that build relationships with your clients, continue making those phone calls, I really would continue your farming, whether that be geographic or it's social media or it's some other sort of niche. Continue that farming and making those contacts and those appointments, and just continue asking if they know of anybody that's looking to buy a home, sell a home, or invest in real estate. And if they do, you'd love an opportunity to get together with them, right? We are going to be doing some more scripting. Our List Like a Pro class was really, really great this week. I know it was a little much doing List Like a Pro and Market Watch all in the same week, especially when both are like 2 hours long. So I do appreciate everybody who came to one, the other, or both. And I will try to kind of keep some of those things to like one a week. I am going to put together, I'm only going to be here Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. And then I will be out Thursday, Friday, and I will be out the following Monday and Tuesday. And so I'm going to put together the buyer prep package and the what we do once we open an escrow, kind of like the how to take a listing class that we did. I'm going to put that together. I want to say that I will try to pull it together for next week, but I think it's a little too short notice for you and me and everybody else. So I'm probably going to push that off until I come back, but I'm going to get working on it and get it ready for you guys. And then I feel like there was something else I wanted to share with you. I don't remember what it is now. I'll email you.
I have a point. So
Sure.
as the stock market declines, a lot of those investors at this point are in need of cash. And a
Yes.
lot of those people own real estate. So at this point, those people then become sellers simply because they need the cash that they've lost in the stock market. So that's something to look out for too.
Very, very much like the federal government,
Exactly.
right? They have become sellers of government-backed securities, and so absolutely, it's very much the case. And again, you're going to see when we see a shift in the market, and we're absolutely seeing it right now. I am very hopeful and I'm very excited about it. I keep saying that there will be a lot of agents that get out of the business because they don't have the support. They've just been sort of out there figuring this out on their own, and it's been working in spite of themselves. And now they're going to have to get back to some of these things like I just talked about, getting back to your calling, getting back to your sphere, and making sure that you're following up with your database and checking in. And once it gets to that, the people that weren't really treating this like a business fall by the wayside, and they go back to Home Depot or DSW or wherever it was that they came from beforehand. And agents who are strong, and I don't necessarily mean that you have to have 1,000 transactions closed. I mean people that show up. The agents that show up and treat this like a business really do gain market share during these kind of shifts. So I'm excited. I'm excited for us as an office to gain market share, and I'm excited for you guys to gain market share as well. And so I'm going to once again just encourage anyone who doesn't have a weekly appointment with me, make sure you call me and set one up with me. A recurring appointment is best so that we have it every week. But if not, just reach out to me and let's get together on marketing strategies, on what to do with your farming, what to do with scripting, how to have different conversations that might be causing you challenges. It's what we're here for. I just had a conversation though. One of the things I was dealing with this morning was a broker issue where one of our agents had an issue with escrow, and things sort of kind of escalated a little bit. And what I reminded that agent was that I know that in a lot of other places you don't necessarily get support, and here it's a little different. We're here to help. And I didn't necessarily disagree I didn't disagree at all with what the challenge was. Have a problem with the way it went down as well, just like the agent did. And so my reminder to that agent was, I would have loved to have helped you with that. I would have loved to have stepped in and done my job, but I didn't get to because you didn't let me know it was happening. And so what I want to just remind you guys of is that any challenges that you're coming up with, there we go. I found the stop share thing. Any challenges that you're coming up with, whatever it is, anytime you breathe in real estate, I want to know about it. I want to hear about it. I want to strategize with you on it, and I want to chat about it. It's what I do. It's what I love. So don't ever feel like, oh, I don't want to bother Stephanie. This is too small. Nothing is too small for me. I just got a call yesterday from a lady who's looking for a lease. It's a lead I'm going to hand off to one of our agents. And I really want to make sure she's helped, but I don't have the time to help her properly. So I'm going to have one of you guys do it. And anytime that I can help you in the same way, I would love to do that. It's what we're here for, and it's what we want to do. So all of us, by the way, I mean that. I was just chatting with Ben and John, and we all feel the same way, that we just want to help anytime we can. So don't hesitate to reach out if you're having challenges, or even if you're just feeling a little lost and aren't quite sure what to do next. The answer is always set your next appointment with Stephanie. All right. Okay. You guys have a great week.
Thank you.
Is there anything I can do for anybody before we go? Any questions or anything that I can do to help?
No, I'd love to set up some time with you though. To meet
Absolutely.
with-
Why don't you stay on for just a second? You and I'll set an appointment.
I'll
Okay,
see you
sure.
about an hour and a half. I've got floor duty this afternoon.
Oh, perfect. I'll see you this afternoon.
See you then.
All right. Bye, guys. Luke, stay on with me.
All right.
All right.